access infinite possibilities, infinite mastery, and infinite love. Mind-expanding, heart-opening conversations with some of the greatest spiritual teachers, luminaries, and healers of today's world. Usher in New Earth by living in your sacred heart. Quantum Conversations is brought to you by AcousticHealth.com, home of music from the universe, online healing retreats, and this program. Claim your free registration to daily shows at AcousticHealth.com. AcousticHealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Lorraine Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. In this quantum conversation, we are talking about quantum superfood. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We can certainly tell it's a Mercury retrograde, as that little Mercury retrograde just made a quick appearance on our show, but we welcome you here. In this episode of Quantum Conversations, in the quantum realm, we are talking about accessing new career ideas, new earth solutions, new earth businesses. No matter what we're doing in our life, we are changing. This year is a year of change. And my guest today says that this process is one that can become spiritual, absolutely must become spiritual, and she's here to help us along the way. Our guest today is Lorraine Rise, and she is a career uprising coach. I want to welcome Lorraine to Quantum Conversations. Hello, Lorraine. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Lorraine. Certainly, I am a big fan of the work that you do with the New Earth One Network and Acoustic Health. So thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor. Thank you.
Well, we are excited to have you. This is a beautiful topic. In the past year, we've seen a deeper awakening of people really looking at their lives and what they do. We saw so many patterns broken or releasing from us, from the old ways of doing things. And even with people working from home, now some could be going back, but there has been a shift. What is your take on what just happened, and what about the incredible opportunities really that are at hand?
Absolutely. Obviously, we all know and are feeling that we're all going through a major shift right now in a lot of ways. The world collectively is going through a major change. And I, as a career coach, I am certainly seeing a lot of that with my clients. In fact, I think I almost wonder if that's one reason why I have the client base that I have now. I've actually never been busier. I've never had more clients, really, truly, in the 6 years that I have been doing this. With the pandemic, I've never been busier. It might look on the surface like it's, not a good time to change careers or make a big move, and maybe we all felt that way for a little while, but I think that now people are really emerging from this in a beautiful way and seeing that this is a good time to make a change. This is a good time to invest in myself and follow my intuition and do those things that I've always wanted to do. And for a lot of people, that means a career change. But it can also it can mean things on a personal level, certainly. But absolutely, you're right, Lorraine, the world is changing before our eyes. We're all going through a beautiful yet difficult shift together. And I really am seeing a lot of that with my clients, but I'm seeing so many good things from it that a lot of people are taking this time to do some introspection in their career and do some housekeeping, we'll say, as well, and really figure out what matters most to them and what they want to do with their lives and their careers, because our careers are such a big part of what we do in our time and our energy here on earth. So it matters. It matters a lot. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot of people really stepping up and saying, yes, I want to make a change. Sometimes they're afraid to, but that's okay. That's where I can come in and help people. But there is an awakening going on. There is a shift, and I'm seeing it within my clients that a lot of people want to take this opportunity to do something really meaningful. I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm hearing from clients is that they want to shift into work that is enjoyable and meaningful and really uses their talents in a good way. And I think I'm hearing also a lot from clients that they really want to find a company that is a good, quote, cultural fit. That's really a buzzword out there now that we hear a lot. And I think what that really is code for, too, is I want to work for a company that shares my values. I want to wake up, and I want a company that is waking up and values their employees. And so I love to see that people are really pursuing that and making that a priority. And I think that's something that's been brewing for a long time. And here we are, right, all making a shift together. So it's a beautiful thing for me to witness as a coach, is to see all of these people really wanting to take this time to invest in themselves and really make a big career change.
Yes, absolutely. And this is good for everyone listening because it covers the full gamut, the multi-facets of people who are in a workforce that want to work with a company, or those who are entrepreneurs and are ready to strike out on their own. It's different for every person because we're wired differently. I know there's numerology that helps us see how we're made up, and, someone who's a 1 would not be someone who can go out and do things on their own. They might need that team support. And when you were sharing about people that want companies that have a cultural fit with them, like-heartedness, like-mindedness, this is great for all of our coaches out there, yourself, but also the people who work with corporations who've got these peace ideas or meditation ideas to go and work with companies that are seeking this because the demand has been created by the employees. Mm-hmm. That's just a big, full-rounded opportunity. So when you work with your clients, what would you say are some of the biggest apprehensions that they have, or obstacles that you need to work around as each of these people, as everyone's different?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, actually, I will say the biggest thing that I hear over and over from clients is they feel stuck. I hear that word a lot. I'm stuck. I feel stuck. They think that they don't have any options out there. Maybe they've been with one employer for a long time and don't really know anything outside of that employer and feel apprehensive about the job search process. So they feel stuck, like maybe they should just stay where they're at. A lot of my clients too are older, I will say mid and late careers. So many of them are 40, 50, even 60 plus, and either want or need to continue working for some time, but they are nervous about competing with younger folks and getting out there in the job search process, or age discrimination, so they feel stuck as well. Or maybe somebody is just not advancing. They're trying to get promoted or trying to get noticed at work, and it's just not happening. So they feel stuck, and that's the word I hear over and over, is stuck, stuck, stuck. And I understand that mentality, but what I try to enlighten clients about, and really, in a way, challenge their thinking, that stuck is a mindset. Stuck is never a truth or a reality. It is always a mindset that we paint ourselves into. I think we always have choices in our career, and that's one thing that I love to do as a coach, is come in and really show people, yes, you do have options. You do have choices. When you feel stuck, it's typically maybe just that a lack of clarity or indecision. Maybe you just haven't made a decision and committed to it, but you have those choices. They are there. There are infinite possibilities available to you and I at every moment. But their universe is really just waiting for you to decide, what direction would you like to go? What are you open to? And sometimes you have to kind of take that first step a little bit before and then the universe will follow and show you the way. But a lot of people get kind of stuck in their own mindset that I'm stuck, I don't have any choices, no one's going to hire me, it's not worth the effort, a lot of those things. And that really is the biggest barrier. Because if you were to act from a place of believing that you could achieve something and that you weren't stuck, nothing really would stop you. We don't realize we're limiting ourselves by having that mindset. And certainly there are, limitations out there in the world. We've got to go interact with companies and other people and compete for talent. And, there's only one job and 100 applicants. So certainly there are some rules we have to play within and some limitations, but rarely are there really the limitations that we think that we have. So to answer your question, I would say this mindset of feeling stuck, which then lowers our self-worth and self-confidence, which then diminishes our amount of action that we take, and then that diminishes our results, and it starts the whole cycle over again of believing that we can't move ahead towards a goal. And whether that's a career goal, relationships, finances, it's all the same. It's really all the same. That's really, I think, the biggest obstacle and the biggest opportunity for coaching is to come in and kind of almost I like to try and hold a mirror up to clients a little bit so they can see themselves and see what they're saying and believing and talking to themselves, their self-talk, because that is very, very crucial to making any kind of a change and moving forward on any goal. But that is definitely the biggest obstacle, is that mindset of I'm stuck and I can't go anywhere.
So what do you do with your clients then? Because it's the belief systems, right? And so how hard do you think when you're breaking a belief system, what is that like? I mean, how is that? Getting them to, first we've got the belief system. And there's also another aspect where people lose sight of the dream, their dreams. They can't dream because that mindset, as you said, really diminishes their action and everything. So how is that? Is it easy to shift? Do they get, sometimes, is there anger that comes out? They get frustrated?
Yeah, it's easier with some clients than others. I haven't had it really where there's anger, although I have had emotions come up sometimes with some clients where typically they know they are their own roadblock. Very rarely, I think, do people really not think that they're playing any kind of a role in it. And maybe that's because typically people who come to me are fairly coachable. That's why they hire a coach. They want to be coached. Occasionally I do get somebody who's maybe a little bit more resistant to that, but I think it really just starts with me asking them, why do you believe that? where do you think that belief came from? Maybe they say, okay, I'm too old. Someone's not going to hire me. I need to change my photo online so I don't have gray hair or something like. I've heard things like that. And so I will gently and lovingly challenge that and say, that's interesting. So where do you think that belief came from? Why do you think that? And, what evidence do you have to support that? Is that based on an experience that you've had? What's led you to believe that? And then we have to ask, too, is it serving you to believe that? How is believing that helping you to get further towards your goal? And with the age thing, one of the things that I tell clients, too, is, okay, so let's say there are people out there who don't have a bias and don't want to hire people who are older. I'm sure that is out there, no doubt. At the end of the day, does it really change things for you? Because you still have your goal of getting this better job. You still have that desire. That's still your goal. You're going to have to persevere with that obstacle there, right? It doesn't really change it if that obstacle is there or not. You're going to need to push forward, unless you want to stay where you're at. But I know they don't, because they came to me for coaching. That's the thing. I know that they want to move forward, and they do too. So when we move forward, we do it regardless of whatever obstacles may be there. At the end of the day, it's just a stepping stone. We still are going to push forward. But I think the important thing is to really ask yourself, or I ask them, why do you believe that? Where did that belief come from? Do you know that to be true? Do you know that to be a fact? And have you seen any evidence of that? And why or why not? And are you ready to let go of that? Are you ready to believe that you might actually be able to achieve this? And a lot of times, one thing I'll do is some clients will tell me all the reasons why something isn't possible. Oh, that recruiter is not going to call me back. Oh, they're not going to say yes to this. They'll give me a whole list of reasons why something will work. And I will stop them and say, okay, there's all the reasons it won't work. Give me one good reason why it will. And I've had a few clients just pause and be silent and go, oh, like they weren't expecting me to challenge them a little bit, So it's all good and it's all loving. But part of my job is to challenge some of your beliefs and help you question them, because a lot of them aren't serving them. And so that's very important, that I find that good balance and with the client, so that they know I'm here to help you and I'm here to love you and support you and partner with you, but I'm not here to just confirm everything that you believe already. Yeah. Because you don't want to believe those things. I know you don't, because that's why you're here. And they know, most of them know that. But it's done in a way that it's respectful to the client and to their beliefs. So I'm very careful with it. But at the same time, I think in coaching, good coaching, we have to get uncomfortable sometimes. We have to be willing to get uncomfortable and challenge things that we believe. That is the only way I have achieved anything that I have. And the way I have the life I have today is I challenge so many of my own beliefs and replace them with ones that actually serve me. But I think that's where I would start. It's just some questioning around where the belief came from and why, and is it even serving them? Because most of the time it isn't.
Yes, as you said, and I think what we're doing here is liberating people from the old paradigm. As we said, with everyone working from home last year and people going back to the workforce now, I think 30% are still not back in the workforce, in their office. What that's done is it's changed the relationship inner office. So there's a level of trust now where employers, that's just shifting the relationship where people show up the best they can, and when you are taking care of your job and you don't have to be seen in an office to be working, you're not going to be going and playing solitaire on your computer because you need that mental break or whatever. So we're really liberating people, and it does involve belief systems. So I wanted to ask, as we're talking about these belief systems, were you able to see a general theme of, like, where did those belief systems come from? Did it come from other employees, the workforce? Did it come from just their experience? What would you chalk that up to?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from conditioning from people that we know around us. We adopt other people's beliefs all the time without even realizing it. Some clients, it may come from their childhood. If they have, there are a few clients I work with who are really struggling with low self-confidence or low self-worth, and that is causing them to not take actions because they don't feel worthy of this new job, so they don't apply for it. That oftentimes comes from your childhood or, a lot of previous experiences. But then there's other times when it comes from the people around us. People see what their friends are doing, or they get advice from their coworkers, and they think it's harmless, and a lot of times it is. It's well intentioned, but they don't always qualify that and ask themselves, do I really believe that to be true? Do I know that to be true? We have to really run everything we hear through our intuition and do an intuition check. Okay, does this resonate with me? Does this sound and feel right to me? And is it serving me to believe this? I think that's one of the biggest things. Is at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where a belief came from. What matters is whether or not you want to keep believing it going forward, and whether or not believing it is going to serve you and get you closer to where you want to go. Because everything we think, every thought, every belief does one of two things. It either keeps us safe in the status quo where we are, or it moves us towards our dreams and our goals. You have a choice. It's one or the other, but we have to really stop and think about what we believe, and is it coming from me, or is it coming from other places and other influences? And I have certainly had to do this in my personal life and in my career. Like I said, I've had to reevaluate a lot of my own beliefs and change my story. It's really about the stories that we tell ourselves, right? I have had to change my story on so many things in order to become the person that I wanted to be and to be successful at the level that I'm at today. So I think, to answer your question, it comes from a lot of different places, but it comes from outside of us. And we don't stop and realize that we need things that come from within us in order to make decisions.
Yes, okay. Well, this is Lorraine Rise with us here on Quantum Conversations, a beautiful coach to assist our listeners and our audience. So if you have a question for Lorraine, go ahead and join us by web call or by the phone, and we can unmute you, and you can work with Lorraine, and she can help you change the story or identify limiting beliefs that are holding you back. We also have a Q&A box that you can enter your question on the Q&A box. So let's talk about manifesting your ideal career. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give us a few tips on how we manifest our ideal career?
Sure. Well, I'll start by telling you what I did in order to manifest mine, and I am certainly in my ideal career. It sounds cheesy, but I say it to people, it is my dream job, what I am doing right now. It is absolutely the right thing for me to be doing at this time. And how I arrived at this was, there was a point where after one of my layoffs, I've been laid off many times, and I was doing just some introspection and thinking about what I really wanted to do next in my career and what would be enjoyable and be meaningful. And so to do that, I asked myself, when I think back on my career, what have I loved the most? If I could isolate all the things that I really enjoyed and the times when I was the happiest, and if I could isolate that and, bottle it up and just do that going forward, what would that be? And the answer came very clear to me that it was what I loved during my time when I was in health and fitness. I loved my employees. I loved hiring them, training them, coaching them. I had a number of employees that I hired who came in at the entry level and were promoted several times to become managers of their own centers. And it was just a beautiful thing to witness. And I stay in touch with them, and they thank me for helping them and mentoring them and being their manager. And that is really what I loved. And so that is actually how I came to be a career coach, because I decided that helping people in their professional lives was my calling, or at least for now, it was the thing that I felt most compelled to do and to take action on. So I isolated what the times when I was the happiest and enjoyed my job the most, and decided to make a career out of that. Now, for me, I had to kind of start my own business and do my own thing to do it, but that's not always the case. Many people can take the best of what they've done in their career and then thoughtfully and intentionally search for a new job that will afford them more of that, because they make that the focus of their search, and they use a lot of intention in the next job that they find, keeping that frame of mind of this is what I want to find. So I think the biggest thing is really just ask yourself, and this is a question I ask clients in coaching sessions, is when were you the happiest in your career and why? What was it because? Was it because of the people that you were with? Was it because of the great environment and the company? Was it the job that you were doing? Or was it just the money you were making? What matters most to you? Figure out what motivates you and why, and we can find you a job. The world is so big and such an abundant place that I find it hard to believe that people can't make a career out of almost anything, maybe not everything, but if I can make a career writing resumes and coaching people to get jobs, I'm pretty confident most people's aspirations can be made into a career for the most part, as long as it's something that the world needs and that people will pay for. But I think the way that I found my ideal career was really just focusing in on what I loved and what I enjoyed and when I was the happiest, and then making it my intention to find that in my next role, whether it was starting a business or getting a different kind of job and kind of reinventing myself a little bit to focus on that. But that's your starting point. And I will say one other thing. There's a lot of advice out there that we've all heard to say, follow your passion, right? Just follow your passion and do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life, right? And I think that advice is well-intentioned, but not always true. I'm actually not a coach that will say everyone can just easily follow their passion, because I think if that were the case, we would never have janitors or garbage men or anything like that. I don't know that that's the best advice. But what I do want people to do is follow their curiosity. I think that curiosity is a very underrated characteristic, something that we let children have but lose as an adult. And curiosity is really a lot of what drove me to have the courage to start my business. I got curious about, well, what if I did become a career coach? What if I tried to start a business? What would happen? I just wanted to get curious and see if it could work. And I almost ran it as an experiment while I held down a full-time job. So I think another piece of advice that I would give people is, yes, you can pay attention to your passion if you feel like you have a clear passion, but if you don't, and there are some people out there who don't have one clear-cut passion that they feel called to do, and that is fine. In that case, I think follow your curiosity. I think that very well could lead you to your next career also.
Beautiful. And as you're speaking there, this is something that could be taught in the schools at younger ages, right? So see the opportunities to take this for counseling in schools and that sort of thing, where our society, I've seen so many, even in my son's life, I've seen another adult, totally squash a dream, saying, oh, you can't do that, you won't make enough money. And I think when we're talking a heart-based conscious reality, that we're definitely anchoring more and more into the heart with this great awakening that's going on. People are respecting the environment even more. There's more opportunities there. There's opportunities everywhere for people to use all of their skills, mixing it together into something so brand new. So that's exciting. And I'm glad that you have this idea that anything can be made into a supporting business. There's a lot of work to do on our planet, whether that's creating scholarships for people or coming up with just new, fresh ideas. What do you think about some folks? You know, everybody is different. Can you identify those who are ready to strike out on their own, or if maybe they do go work with a company, maybe if it's in the short term or a longer term? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that the decision of should I stay or should I go, should I strike out on my own, should I stay with my current job, certainly there is always going to be some element of risk involved in starting your own company. And I think that it's supposed to be that way. That's okay. So as far as the people who are maybe cut out for that or not, I think you do have to be willing to take a certain amount of risk. But at the same time, I tell people to be smart. I kept a job for a while when I first started my company. I didn't necessarily go just full force and all in. You know, I still kept a steady paycheck for a while there, and I'm glad that I did. So we don't always bridge, absolutely. And I think that, as you were saying, with a lot of 1099 and the gig economy and freelancing growing so robustly right now, I think it's really never been easier to do that. And it's becoming more common for a lot of people to have a traditional job, but then have a side job or something that they're starting and growing, some seeds that they're planting on the side. And I think that's a great way to start. And if you get to a point where you got to pick between, which I did. I grew my business to a point where I couldn't do both anymore, and I had to pick, and that was a beautiful thing. And that's when I knew that I was ready to leave. I was ready to go because I had built it up enough to where I simply could not do both anymore. What a good problem to have.
Yes, so, and celebrate that, right?
Yeah.
Celebrate that day.
Definitely. But I want people to know, you know, depending on what it is, if as somebody like myself who is a solopreneur and started an independent coaching practice, that is very inexpensive to start. I mean, I started it for no money, really no money at all, maybe a couple $100. So I was able to start small and just slowly build and get one client and then get two and then get three. And I was amazed at how fast they came when I was ready and I showed up and took action. They just started coming in. But there was a building period there, certainly. And I kept a job. So we don't always have to take quite as much risk as we think that we do. But you need to also have the drive for it, because being an entrepreneur, and you probably know this too, Lorraine, is nothing like being an employee. They're two different worlds. They're very, very different. Now, that doesn't mean you're not cut out for one or the other or both, but it's not for everyone. So for me, what I recognized in myself was a really intense drive to do something on my own for myself. I wanted complete freedom over my schedule, and professional freedom. I wanted to be able to work from home. This was 6 years ago when working remote was not allowed a lot. It still wasn't a super common thing. And I was not allowed to do it at my job. So I didn't have, the flexibility that I wanted. So I had this intense desire to create that. So if you feel that you have an intense desire to go out on your own and really just create something from scratch, listen to that, certainly. Because I repressed it for a while. I heard it for a while and I ignored it and denied it and repressed it until it finally just got so big it all exploded and I just had to take action. That's an interesting story right there. But it was very much... I will call that in just a second. That's actually a good one. But
no, we call that when push comes to shove.
Yes. Oh, I got shoved, for sure. Life shoves me hard.
you can get a little push, but then it's your soul is saying, "Come on, sister." And So for me, that moment where I because you were kind of asking, how do you know when it's right and if you should do it? Well, for me, I had this whisper of intuition for a while to start a coaching practice, but
it just wasn't urgent enough in my life. I wasn't at a place where I felt ready to kind of rock the boat and take a risk and do something. I was still playing it safe and playing it small a little bit. And what happened was I was laid off from a job that I was at when the company got bought, and I took the very next job that came along. I was not unemployed for very long, and it seemed like a blessing. Quick, right? On the surface, you think, oh, great, a job offer comes along, I should take it, right? But it was one of those things where I took it quickly. I took it because it was there, because it was easy, and it was a disaster, Lorraine. It was a disaster. I was not a fit for this company at all. It was totally just a mismatch culturally. They didn't really need somebody full time in my role. I had very different energy with my supervisor, very unaligned in our energy and our just kind of the frequency. And I was fired very abruptly after 3 months. I had never been fired in my life, never thought I would ever be fired. I couldn't believe it. I was shown the door very quickly. That it just wasn't, it was just a terrible combination, but it was one of the greatest experiences ever, because that was the impetus for me to start my business, and I did immediately. And I remember being just on fire with action. I took action so fast. I was so motivated by a lot of the frustration and just the shame and the anger of the whole situation. And I funneled all of it into starting my business, and it was one of those things where I don't see how it could have happened any other way. I wasn't going to quit. I was too stubborn for that. And I had bills to pay. And I'd only been here a few months. I didn't think I could leave really yet. So the universe helped me out and fired me and really knocked me on the ground so I could see everything I needed to see and take action. So sometimes if we repress that intuition, that voice that tells us to do something, it gets louder, and then it gets louder and louder until you just can't ignore it if you don't listen to it. So for me, that was one of the most pivotal moments of probably the most pivotal moment of my whole career. And it put me on the path that I'm on today. And I really have to look back at that whole experience with nothing but love and gratitude, really. Because it served me and got me where I needed to be, and it forced me to do what I didn't have the courage to do myself. So sometimes life forces our hand a little bit, and that's okay. But I will say to people that if you feel a nudge, if you're hearing an inner voice, yes, you can do this. You can start this business, or you can go change careers and do this. Listen to that, because you don't have to wait for a catastrophe like I did. Sometimes we wait for a catastrophe, but you don't have to if you want to listen to that quiet voice while it's still quiet. So, yeah, that's my story of getting knocked on by you know what.
Sister, I had a similar experience, and I would bet that you are a one on a soul path, because it just sounds, with the freedom, and you're just like me. My second to last job of working, I call it working for the man. I was fired after 6 weeks, and I was in tears, like how in the world does that happen? And it was similar to you. And I took one more job after that, and I decided I'm not going to play office politics at all. Well, instead, so it was just a really interesting dynamic, and we all go through those situations. I want to just illustrate there that when it was urgent enough for you, when your back was against the wall, that was your choice, and it totally empowered you, and it filled you with that catharsis, that change really kicked you into action. That's beautiful. Okay, and so here, that's what makes you a great coach in helping others do it, because you've been through it and you know how to get people through it. So let's go to some questions now.
Sure.
We have Mark in Austin has a question over our Q&A box. And Mark, if you're listening right now, I'd like you to jump on the web call. On the web page, go to the phone or the web call, and we will unmute you so you can share your voice. If we don't hear from you, we'll go ahead and read your question. Okay, let's go to the phone line, and we have Beth in San Rafael. Hi, Beth.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Okay, good.
Hi, Beth.
Good. Hi, thank you for taking my call. I apologize, I'm outside and the wind just picked up. I don't, let's see if you can just answer something without me having a specific. I have my own business, I've had for many years, and I teach people movement and exercise of all types. I work with seniors, I have clients, but I have always had a thing where I feel like my soul can do much more. I'm leading guided meditations at the end of some of my classes, and they're very powerful. And I want to go into that more. And I feel like I do have blocks, but I also do get busy, and then I leave aside all of the business aspects of things I should do, including invoicing some of these businesses. And it's also getting myself out there in social media and just exploring new things. But I've been told by a number of people that I trust that my soul wants to have a greater voice, reach more people and that kind of thing. So, and I know I have blocks to perhaps live a little bit smaller in that way, with it not while doing, I'm fine. But perhaps you can just answer anything you resonate in all of that.
Okay, so you're feeling a call to do something even bigger and perhaps greater or different than what you're doing now with your exercise and movement classes, but are maybe not sure what that is, or you know what it is, but you're not quite having the courage to put yourself out there. Which do you feel that it is?
I'm not sure what form it would take. I know that I have a talent with the meditations and doing something with people and exploring that more, and I'd like to do that more. I still like the other things I do, but it's getting out there in a bigger way and getting past some blocks, I guess.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would recommend for you, Beth. One thing that I have noticed is that when you formalize something and you make a business out of it and you start charging for something that you love and that you enjoy, it's good, but sometimes it can put pressure on you, right? When we want our passion to pay our bills, it can put a lot of pressure on us, and then that's where imposter syndrome can come, and lack of self-confidence and feeling like, oh no, I don't want to be seen. I don't know if I want to do this. What I recommend is if you have something like meditation that you feel like you want to do more with, but you're not sure exactly how, or if you want to make a business out of it, I would start small. Perhaps start in a way where you're not charging for people. Maybe start a local meditation group or an online Facebook group where you do live meditations, or start with something small, maybe with people that you know. And I would recommend starting out with it not being paid, just so it's low key, it's no pressure. You're not making a business out of it yet or anything, but you're just exploring it. Kind of like what I was saying before about following your curiosity. Start with it incrementally and just do it on the side in a small way and let it blossom and let it grow. See what it goes into. But I recommend sometimes that before people go headstrong into making a business, test it out a little bit without the pressure of making it pay your bills and charging, because that adds a whole other element to it. And just maybe find some small ways within your friends or your community to start doing more meditation and leading them, and see where it goes, and see if your confidence builds up and you enjoy it and you decide you want to keep doing it, and you can kind of take it from there. A lot of people will do things like maybe start a local group or start a podcast or something that's kind of on the side and treat it as a hobby, but then let it grow into a profession if they want it to. So I would follow your curiosity and explore the meditation aspect and just see where it goes in a very non-pressuring kind of way, where it's more for fun, and then let it go from there and see if it blossoms into something bigger.
That's really nice. I'm smiling as you say all that, because I just feel in this approach, and I've kind of had this idea myself, but it's like when you say it, it's like, yes, and I can do this, and it could be easy and make it fun. And again, there's no pressure because they're not paying me and I have to deliver specific things. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel good about it, and it's easier that way. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. And best of luck to you. I think that's wonderful. And I will say too that adding, I can relate to you very much in that, because when I started my coaching practice, did not have a spiritual element to it at all. I always had my beliefs and I had this desire to be more of a spiritual coach, but I kept that hidden, I will say, for a while until I was ready and I got my confidence up, and then I started creating meditations, put them for sale on my website. Then I got the courage to start talking to clients about meditation. I too had a calling to integrate meditation and my spiritual practice and principles into my coaching, but I did it very incrementally because I just wasn't ready for it at first. But I knew I would be, and when that time was right, I would. And that's exactly what I've done.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I feel some pressure taken off me.
Oh, good. I hope so. Good.
Oh.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And Beth, that's beautiful that you're doing that you're already integrating it. See, so you know what to do. That's your higher self speaking to you, and you're doing it. Good luck, sister. I know you're going to do it.
Okay. Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you.
I have to just share, you guys, me too. I said when I got fired from that job and then I took another job, the last job I took, it was like, it was like hell. I looked around and I was like, how in the world did I create this? This is not what I want. It's that introspective time, right? And I just created, technology came about, and I just did inventory, and I knew since I was a little girl, I loved interviewing people, and that was my curiosity. And so there it was. I started a radio show, and I just did it out of the love of my heart, showing up as best that we can. And then I asked to be shown ways to monetize it and be supported. And I was shown 3 different things. And you would think I would have taken one of those things and ran with it, but my ego mind got in the way. I saw other people already doing it, and I threw my arms up saying, there was another belief system. So it's a way to clear out these things. And instead of taking years in doing this, working with a coach like Lorraine will actually help you break through that so much faster, quicker, and more people are doing this themselves. And like the 4-minute mile, if a few people learn to run the 4-minute mile, more people will learn it as well. So we are all in this together, and the big shift is underway. Okay, let's go to, here is Mark in Austin, Texas. Hi, Mark.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Mark.
Although there's an echo, you may have to turn off another device, or if you've got that. So now we don't hear you, so try that again, Mark. Sorry, Mark, you may have to join again. You're unmuted here, but must have muted something.
No, that's too bad. Yeah.
Okay, I can read his question, because it's good. Here's his question. How do I go about finding an intuitive talent scout instead of a job recruiter? I started changing careers in 2009. Since then, I've been toggling back and forth between my first career and my second career. First career, professor of Spanish, Hispanic Studies. Second career, intuitive energy healer for pets and pet parents. I especially love my work and career too, and still looking to find a way to fully support myself financially. Right now I am toying with reactivating my background in Hispanic studies, and my true heart would like me to stay with my energy healing work. And I have some other type of employment to bring in money. And I am open to meeting with a talent scout or intuitive career coach who can help me figure out how my diverse and eclectic professional backgrounds can be put together into another work opportunity that I don't even know exists. Job recruiters need you to explicitly define what that thing is that you are seeking. Any insights, tips for someone in my situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's an interesting question. So, Mark, what I would say is Well, I have one of the meditations that I created that I have on my website. It's called Setting an Intention for Your Job Search. And what I mean by this is not, and you're not doing this, which is good, but I want to just confirm what you want to do is not just start at it haphazardly and just start firing off resumes, right? We want to really take time and set a clear intention and say, this is what I'm looking for and who I'm looking for. So when we set that intention, we can ask the divine to bring in the right people, the right resources and help to get us where we need to be. So I would say, align to me and let these people come in, those who can help me, those employers, those recruiters, those colleagues or friends who have connections, whoever it may be. You want to stay open. Don't put any limitations on it and say it has to be a recruiter or a certain person, but whoever it may be, I would just broaden it up and say to the divine, align me with the right people and the right resources that will help me to find the absolute best position for me right now, the one that is heart-based, that is right for me, that will provide the income that I need. That is what I wish to align with. And then go out into the world and take action towards that job search. Start making connections. Start talking to people and deliberately seeking out those people, knowing that the universe is going to support you. It is, you have the right intention. It will align the right people, whether they're recruiters or coaches, whomever they might be. The right people will start flooding in to help you. People who say, oh yes, I can pass your resume on. Oh yes, I know somebody who works at that company. Let me put you in touch. But as long as you're open to that and you are setting that clear intention, that will happen. So I would recommend taking a few minutes each day, before you engage in any job search activity or apply for any jobs, and just take a moment of quiet and set an intention that you want to draw in the right people to help you. And the right resources, whatever it may be. And I think that you will find that they are out there. There are people out there who are intuitive, who will help you, but we kind of have to strip the label off it and any preconceived notions of who they might be or what they might look like. It could be a recruiter, it could be somebody else. We don't know where that next job opportunity is going to come from. But setting an intention for aligning yourself with the right people and the right opportunities and resources is going to be really important. So make that a little daily practice that you do for just a few minutes of quiet, particularly before you engage in any job search activity, but just in general, maybe at night before you go to bed, whatever works for you. But that has worked very well for me, is to do some intentional kind of meditation and thought work around the job that I want and be open to how or who it may come from. So I would probably start there, Mark. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Mark.
Yeah.
What happened there? Mercury retrograde again, but we adapt, don't we? Yes, we adapt. Beautiful advice. I wanted to ask you more. Let's see. Here's another question. Angela, I love speaking and coaching. Since 2019, I've hardly worked. Each time I try to start my online business, I procrastinate or start and let go. I hate the marketing and also have a limiting belief that it may not be well received. I am conflicted in subjects too. Can you help?
So, Angela, I can relate. A lot of people can. I think the first thing to acknowledge is that what you're feeling is normal and what you're feeling is natural, especially when you are in a profession such as mine and such as Lorraine's, where you are speaking and visible, and you're really putting yourself out there for judgment and opening up for judgment to other people. And that's not an easy thing to do. Even if you have a natural speaking or coaching ability, that doesn't mean that you won't encounter some imposter syndrome or something like that. So that's normal and it's absolutely okay. But I have a feeling too, in saying that, you hate the marketing, and that might be, I can relate to that too, that might not be your skill set. But I almost wonder if a lot of that is connected to this imposter syndrome and this fear of putting yourself out there. If that were to be released, I almost just feel like things would become easier. Things would become more enjoyable, perhaps even the marketing. Sometimes we blame it on some things and say, oh, I'm not good at that, or I don't like it, but we're really just, we want to do it. We just don't feel confident that we're good at it, or that, like you said, that it will be well received. So that fear of judgment and that fear of it not being well received could be the reason why you don't like it, perhaps. But even something like marketing could be outsourced to a virtual assistant or somebody else. That's very easy and flexible these days online. So, you can look at maybe getting some help with that if you feel like that's not your expertise. But I think the deeper issue here is, why am I afraid to put myself out there? What am I worried about? Am I worried about being judged? And if we're worried about being judged by other people, it's because we're judging ourselves. When you really love yourself and love what you are doing and the services or the products that you offer, you will find you really don't worry about judgment from other people because you're not judging yourself. So that I say all of that with love, and as somebody who can relate to you, I've had to bust through so many limitations within myself and deal with so much doubt to get to the level that I'm at. I used to have a lot of anxiety and doubt when I first started about coaching a lot of clients, especially executive level clients, and I really limited myself a lot in the beginning. So I would explore that. I think that is really what's holding you back. I wonder if there's some fear or imposter syndrome, but just love yourself through it and know that it's normal, especially if you're starting a business. But if you're speaking and putting yourself out there, that is not easy to do. And I applaud you just for doing it and getting started. And I'm not sure how long she's been doing it, but just acknowledge what you're feeling is normal and really explore that within yourself, why you feel afraid and what you're afraid is going to happen if some people don't like it, because that's all part of the process. And I've had to go through that as well. But I believe that you can do it, Angela, absolutely. And it sounds like you're already perhaps doing it on some level. It's just a matter of validating it within yourself.
Yes.
That helps.
Beautiful. Yes, really empowering. It really is. And, we'll begin to see these belief systems that keep us back, that we have to, there's so many layers to them that we really have to just be present with ourselves. And, one of the best things is to tune in so deeply, and that is through meditation. And you have a series of meditations that you've developed for your clients. They're actually available on our special offer page with you. People can sign up for a personal session with you as well. But talk to us about the ways that you meditate and the best things for you to bring forward your dreams or to really get clear on what you want when you go into these meditations.
I think the most important thing is to really just focus on feelings and strip away the details. It's really important to not get fixated on a certain job title, a certain company, even a certain location maybe, whatever constraints we're putting on this goal or this dream, this new job. I'm going to challenge clients and listeners to really let go of that. And in your meditations, focus on how you want this job or this new career path to make you feel. And use visualization. I love to visualize myself happy and successful. And, what would it look like if you were successful at work? What would you be doing? Maybe some things. Maybe you want to be in an office environment, or maybe you don't. Maybe you want to work outside in nature. Whatever you do know, start with that and visualize it really as a daydream where you're feeling the emotions. The more real you can make the emotions, the better. Because emotions are really the language of the universe. When you feel something, I think that is just exponentially more powerful than just saying it, than just the words. It takes on new meaning when you can really pull up emotion and feel happy at work. So that is the most important thing, is especially if you're really unhappy at the current job that you're in. We have to balance that out by having some quiet meditation time where we feel good at work, even if we have to dream it up in our heads, right? But that is what I have done with phenomenal success. I will tell you that as somebody, I have been laid off repeatedly. I have lost my job 5 times in 7 years. So I know what it's like to be unemployed. And the reason I was so successful at getting employed so quickly was because I meditated a lot. I set a positive intention. I just kept a positive attitude through the whole thing, knowing I was talented and worthy and I was going to find something good. Even though I didn't know what it looked like or where it was or what company, none of that matters. And we get really fixated on that and we limit ourselves. It's like coloring with only one color of crayon in the box, right? You don't know what your next amazing career necessarily is. So leave it open and just focus on, I love my work. I am challenged. I am rewarded. I am compensated, and I can see myself there now doing it. And let yourself have 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you can, of that daydream on a daily basis, whether you want to do it in the morning or do it at night, whatever works for you. But really set that tone and that intention. And that's what the one meditation I have, setting an intention for your job search, is about. I walk you through that, and we do the daydream together. I walk you through it in first person, where we go there together, saying all these positive things about how you really want to feel in your career. Because I think we get so wrapped up in the negativity and the stress of our current job that we forget we have to feel good if we want to attract something good. If we keep feeling bad, we're going to attract something bad that's the same as what we have. So you're going to have to balance the negativity you might currently be in with really positive feelings. And in the meditation is when you can do that.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, so you are offering these meditations, a meditation playlist for manifesting your ideal career. Are there any titles you want to share about those? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, the playlist, there's 3 meditations that you get. So setting an intention for your job search, which I just talked about. Self-confidence boost is the second one. Self-confidence is huge in making a career change. It is probably one of the number one barriers that I help clients with. So that is a very important one. It's just a good, 10-minute dose of self-love to help build you up again. And then the third one is manifest your ideal career. So that one also focuses on really visualizing and painting that picture of what you want and allowing the people, the resources, the necessary things that you need to happen to come to fruition, to manifest that career, and kind of removing those roadblocks and those barriers. So all 3 of those are included in the playlist.
Beautiful. All right, those are an immediate download, and that is at a very good price for just those meditations. So if it resonates with you and you need some assistance there, these are great tools to assist you. And so, Lorraine, tell us about your personal sessions, too. You're offering a 30-minute session for people.
Yes, actually, I think I'm offering a 60-minute session. They actually get a 1-hour session with me. And what we will do is really go through, what is your take assessment of your current situation? What is not working for you in your career? And I always tell people, start where you are. Start with what you do know about your career. So I will walk you through that process. I will hear what your current situation is, what you do know about what you want, and what you don't know. And I'll partner with you in that hour, offering some tips and strategies, but also really helping you to open up your own intuition and validate yourself and what you're hearing within your intuition that you want. And we'll lay the foundation in that hour for some strategies and some actions that you can take to get closer to that goal that you want. So, I hope that people will take advantage of that, because I love coaching, and I think that coaching, the profession is growing. It's just so powerful to share your goals out loud with somebody else. That alone can be very empowering. But to also be able to receive guidance from somebody like myself, I have a lot of hiring experience. I think it's kind of that blend of the practical and the spiritual together. We kind of blend both together and make it a very powerful hour.
Yes, the practical and the spiritual, heart-centered, but taking action steps that move us forward. We've said this before, it's 1 foot at a time, And Lorraine, as a great coach, is there to assist you on those next steps, to give you clarity. You know, if we don't do this, we will just spend years. I have seen myself lose years because I've gotten in my own way. And it was only until, I mean, there were some spiritual things that went on. I went for 11-11-11. That was an incredible year. Went to Peru and really did a ceremony around it as well, and just followed the guidance that I received after that. And that's where the meditations come in, for us to be able to hear that inner voice so clearly that we do take the action. And what do you say about writing down when you're in meditation, Lorraine? You know how things could just kind of pop up. That writing down is important, yes?
Yes, I call them divine downloads. I love that phrase. I get them all the time. And for me, I have sticky notes on my desk because I get them during the workday as well, and I write it down immediately. I feel something. It's like I don't know, it's just kind of a trigger within me. I feel a click of when I get one of them, and I think, oh, I have to write that down immediately. That's a good idea. It could be an idea for a podcast that I want to do, or even just a question I want to start asking. Actually, I got one today, of a question I wanted to start asking clients or prospective clients. I get little nuggets like that, and I just have learned to trust them, and I write them down immediately. I am a firm believer, too, in writing down your goals and anything that comes through in your dreams or your meditations, because words take on new meaning when they hit the paper. They become more real, and there's a level of accountability in there as well. So absolutely, Lorraine, you're right. Write it down. Keep sticky notes, or I also have a journal by my nightstand as well. And you know what else I do? I do that as a clearing before I go to bed. Sometimes there's things on my mind, to-dos or emails, things like that. I will write them down to clear them out of my brain and say, I'll take care of them tomorrow. Here they are. I'm going to remember them, so I go to bed with less stress. I just immediately write down anything on my brain, and I don't take it to sleep with me. That's very important. So that's another powerful use for writing things down also.
You know, that's a really great tip, because, it's usually the reverse for most of us. We'll wake up and think of all these things that we have to get done. But if you do it before going to sleep, wow, you're not going to get woken up in the middle of the night thinking about them. Yes. That's a good tip. You know what else I like to do? I like to date. I keep a journal with no lines. I have different sized, lineless binder journals, spiral notebook journals that I put all of the ideas. That's literally how I've built New Earth One Network. And when I put the dates on it, those dates, when you come back around and you see how long it's been, or how you keep getting the same idea over and over and over. So that's another reason to add the dates, because when we can put it on that linear timeline, that too kicks us into action.
Oh, that's a good idea. I haven't thought to date things, so I'll do that as well. So I can count how many times the universe has told me something before I do it.
Literally 5 years, and I said, oh my gosh, it's been 5 years. Get busy. Yes. And so I wanted to wrap this up just by saying this incredible shift that we're going on in this world, and the opportunities that are available with us, with spirituality, with people awakening, with all systems coming up for renewal from this heart-based perspective, this heart-based consciousness. Everything is up for renewal. And I just see that, like you, Lorraine, as incredible opportunity, no matter what people are doing, no matter what their skills. There is enough for everyone. There's no such thing as competition, really. This is a time in this 20th year. I mean, it's the 21st year of the 21st century, and collaboration in a new way. We were mentioning earlier how we're teaming up, and you started a business, for just a couple $100. This is the reality in our world. We can literally start a business for a couple $100 and grow from there as more tools come about. But that is a beautiful opportunity. And when you're working with freelancers and people who, that they are moms, like with a couple of kids, young kids, and they want to be there, but they want to find balance. There's new opportunities where people just show up the best that they can, and they get rewarded for that. And these are the opportunities that are out there. And Lorraine, you're doing such a good job helping people identify how it actually fits in their life, no matter what. It's like no more excuses anymore, right? Nothing can stop us. Nothing.
Absolutely. I would urge listeners, seize this opportunity with the energy on Earth right now, this renewal. Like you said, everything is changing. The workplace is changing in a lot of ways for the better. I think you're going to see more and more emphasis because of the pandemic, more on employee well-being, mental health. Yes, expanding, employee assistance programs, more flexibility, working from home, moms and dads needing to be there for their kids, just more humanity being brought back into the process. Yes, right?
Thank you.
That is what we're going to see. We're already seeing it. A lot of CEOs being held accountable for pay and things like that. When I read a lot of articles, I see glimmers of hope where we're no longer tolerating things in the workplace that we used to, that the playing field is being leveled, and a lot of issues are getting attention, diversity and flexibility and working from home, all kinds of things. So you are correct, Lorraine, that everything is up for renewal, and that is not a bad thing. That is a good thing, because a lot of things were broken and not working. So I would tell listeners to really see what's happening in the world as a good thing and take advantage of this energy on Earth right now and use it to further your own goals and prosper. I mean, like you said, I went from starting a business for $500 to now having a business that affords me a 5-figure income monthly. I mean, it's just unbelievable what I've been able to accomplish, but I had to change my thinking in order to get there. So change your thinking and start that process of really waking up right now. And a lot of the work that you do, that's the work that you do, Lorraine, on the show and your network. So it's just a beautiful thing. It's exciting.
It's exciting, and we are all helping empower the world. And so this is where all hands on deck for New Earth. We've been saying that for about a decade now, but really it is here. And I know everyone is feeling the call. And if you're not feeling the call, that's okay. Maybe you're just here to share a smile with someone and radiate your love. If you are looking for a beautiful coach, a supportive coach, someone to reflect back to you any areas that need shifting to move you out of mindsets that are limiting, Lorraine Rise is available for you. And when you're booking sessions, can you book people pretty close in to when they purchase?
Yes. I would say if somebody were to book today, I would be able to get them in within the next 2 weeks or so. So yes, you would be able to get in a relatively short period of time.
Beautiful. Moving forward with people who can assist is a beautiful tool that can actually accelerate your path more than you can imagine. Imagine yourself with an hour session with our beautiful guest, Lorraine Rise. She is wise.
Well, I'm wise too. I'll take that. That's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, imagine what an hour would do with an expert in this field, with a spiritual incline, working with your intuition. Imagine that. And if it resonates, we hope that you work with Lorraine. This has been a beautiful class today. Thank you so much, Lorraine. You really are helping people, and we just appreciate all of your wisdom. I'd like to give you a moment to add anything as we wrap up our show.
Well, no, I just want to thank you and thank the callers. This is really just, being on a show like this is really a great part of my growth and my evolution. As I said, when I started my practice, I didn't make the spirituality a focus of it at all, but the fact that I'm on the show, and it really just shows that how much I've embraced that as a part of my practice and how much I've grown as a coach as well. So I just appreciate this opportunity and all of those who submitted questions and called in, and I do hope to work with some of your listeners as well and take it a step further and really help them to take action on their goals.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful time for that. And there's no going back, and there's a lot of work to do. So thank you, Lorraine Rise.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Again, you can find that special offer for Lorraine's meditations, career empowerment meditations, and a 60-minute personal session. That is right here on this webpage at acoustichealth.com. Thank you, everyone. Now it is time to dance our way to the cosmic heart. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Lorraine Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.